Chapter 1. Touchdown, Turn Up. Anita didn't come to Canada for struggle. She didn't cross oceans and cook up visa stories to be flippin' burgers in some cold Tim Hortons. No, she had a strategy and a backup plan for the backup plan. The second her plane hit the tarmac at Pearson International, she updated her Instagram story with a location tag that said, Toronto, Canada. Then she whispered to herself, Soft life activated. She stepped out of the terminal in a faux fur coat, heels that screamed confidence, and lashes that defied gravity. Immigration cleared her as a visitor. 3 months to work magic. I didn't come here for dreams. I came for the bag. Her first connection was already waiting in the DMs. Mark Igbokwe, a Nigerian real estate agent in the Greater Toronto area. Verified account, older, married, but thirsty. He had slid into her messages after she posted a selfie in front of the CN Tower. Legos girls carry fire, he wrote. Link me before Toronto carries you away. They met 2 days later. Mark arrived with flowers and charm. She greeted him in an oversized t-shirt and nothing underneath. Before the Uber receipt hit his inbox, they were tangled in sheets. But Anita had placed her phone on the dresser, recording the entire thing. Wide angle, clear audio, no filter. The next morning, while Mark was dressing up, she spoke. I hope you're ready to support my immigration journey. What are you talking about? Because if I accidentally send this video to your wife's church group, your house will catch fire. Mark froze, then laughed. Nervous laughter. The kind that meant he understood exactly what kind of trouble he was in. He didn't argue. He asked for her full name, passport details, and home address. He said he would get the forms ready. You want to play dirty? Now you belong to me, he said, gripping her chin. She smirked, wiping her lip with his thumb. I was never free to begin with. From that moment, Anita was living in a golden cage. Mark paid her rent, bought her clothes, took care of her hair and nails, but he started controlling her too. He showed up unannounced, changed the Airbnb password, monitored her Instagram, and sent money with messages like, "Don't forget who owns you." She played the game well, flirty when needed, obedient when it served her. But deep down, she knew this wasn't freedom. It was another type of prison, one with central heating and designer sheets. Still, this was just the beginning. She had 2 more men in her messages waiting to be activated. Mark was just level 1.
Chapter 2. The problem with soft life is that it feels permanent until it disappears overnight. One week, Anita was sipping imported wine in an Airbnb with a city view. The next, she was lounging in Mark's suburban guest room like a queen in exile. He moved her there after she hinted at exposure again, this time using a selfie with his Rolex as silent leverage. The house was quiet, nestled in a cul-de-sac where every driveway had a Range Rover and every mailbox had a mortgage. His wife worked nights at the hospital. 2 kids, 1 dog. A life too busy to notice the stranger in her home. Anita settled in like it was hers. She wore the wife's robes, sprayed her Chanel No. 5, used her body wash, and slept on her side of the bed. Sometimes she left lip gloss on wine glasses and waited to see if Mark would clean up before his wife returned. He never did. She took it as a sign that he was all in. He wasn't. But Anita believed he was, because it was easier than admitting she had no backup plan left. She liked the routine. Wake up, yoga in the living room, Netflix on the widescreen, a quiet midday round with Mark when he sneaked home on lunch breaks. It almost felt like she belonged. She imagined him filing her papers, changing her last name, introducing her as his second chance. It was delusion, but she wore it like perfume. Then one Thursday evening, the door opened too early. No jingling keys, no warning. just a sharp creak and the sound of heels stepping into hardwood. Anita was in the kitchen making a smoothie, wearing the wife's robe, barefoot, no wig, no bra. She didn't turn around. She already knew. The wife didn't scream at first, just looked. Her eyes scanned the robe, the lipstick on the counter, the scent in the air. Then she dropped her bag and let loose. "You think you'll stay in this country by sleeping with my husband?" Anita turned slowly, blending still running, and said with the kind of smirk only a woman with nothing left could wear, "No, Ma, I already did." The slap landed before the sentence finished. Everything after that moved in flashes. A broken glass, clothes tossed onto the lawn, neighbors watching from behind blinds. Mark showed up halfway through the chaos and stood there, wordless. He didn't defend her, didn't speak. He just looked at the scene, looked at Anita, then looked away. By morning, she was gone. The house, the man, the illusion, snatched like a wig in wind. Her portal login showed her sponsorship was withdrawn. The application was dead. She was now an overstayed visitor with no address, no allies, and a burner phone that barely held charge. No job, no ID, no plan. Just a thin jacket, unpaid nails, and the memory of a life that felt real for 5 minutes. Canada was suddenly colder, and this time she was truly alone.
Chapter 3. Montreal was colder, rougher, and didn't care about your past. Anita arrived with nothing but a cracked phone, a fake smile, and a lie she told herself every night that this was just temporary. The first 2 days, she couch-surfed with a girl she met on a WhatsApp group for Nigerians abroad. By the 3rd day, the girl asked her to leave. Anita stepped into the streets with her heels on and pride in her chest, but by midnight she was at the door of a strip club called Heaven, a place where nothing holy ever happened. The neon sign flickered like it was struggling to stay alive. She walked in and lied about her age, name, and papers. Nobody asked for proof. Heaven didn't care who you were, as long as you could dance and keep your mouth shut. Anita became Poison. Not just a stage name, an identity. One that let her survive without explanation. She wore glitter, long red wigs, and stilettos that pinched her toes until they bled. But she danced like the bills were due yesterday, and the men paid. $500 a dance, $1,000 for extras. She had rules, but she broke them when the money smelled right. Every moan was rehearsed, every fake laugh earned her another hour of warmth. Then came Bradley. He was white, built like a gym membership, and ran the club like he owned souls. He watched her dance 3 nights in a row before asking her to join him in the back office. She expected the usual, pressure, disrespect, maybe worse. But Bradley offered her something different. He promised fake documents, a new ID, even whispered about love between his teeth. He gave her free drinks, pills that made the nights blur, and kisses that felt like contracts. She let herself believe it, let him wrap her up in perks and promises. Some nights she fell asleep in his bed, dreaming of a new name and a second chance. Other nights, she stayed up counting the cash in her bag while staring at his back, wondering if he'd keep his word. He didn't. It happened on Tuesday during her set. The lights were low, music loud, and she was halfway through a private dance with a man who smelled like desperation. Then came the flashlights, the shouting, the immigration officers that tore through the club like judgment. Immigration officers. They flipped the dressing rooms, lined girls up, asked for documents no one had. Poison tried to run in heels. Bad idea. They tackled her near the fire exit, face to the floor, breath knocked out of her lungs. Bradley? Gone. Not even a voicemail. She was dragged out in handcuffs, still wearing glitter and lipstick, shivering in the snow. The men who paid to see her naked now watched her fall apart, fully clothed. She didn't cry. Not yet. That would come later. First, she had to survive the cage. Chapter 4. Lagos didn't feel like home anymore. Not after winter kissed her skin and called her by another name. Anita stepped off the deportation bus wearing rubber slippers and the same hoodie they handed her in the holding cell. No luggage, no escort, just a stamped passport and a silence loud enough to drown her. At Murtala Muhammad Airport, no one came to greet her. Her SIM card was dead, her spirit worse. Back in Ikotun, her mother looked through her like she was made of glass. Her father didn't say a word, but her aunt, sharp-tongued and always present, was waiting with judgment clutched in her teeth. You left this country chasing a better life and came back with shame. Anita didn't flinch, didn't cry. She simply picked up the plastic bag that held her things, an old iPhone, expired makeup, and a few wigs she didn't have the heart to sell, and she walked away. They didn't offer her a room, not even a mat. She found a Face Me, I Face You flat and paid for 3 months with the last of her Montreal savings. 1 fan, 1 cracked mirror, 1 corner for her hustle. She created a WhatsApp business account selling wigs she no longer wore, branding herself as an international hair plug. She posted old pictures of Toronto snow, old selfies from her Airbnb days, and filtered her voice notes to sound like she still lived abroad. Everything she posted was a lie, but the truth didn't pay bills. At night, when NEPA failed and the fans stopped spinning, Anita lay still on her mat and listened. To rats in the ceiling, to generators outside, to memories she couldn't kill. She kept her iPhone close, brightness low, pretending she still belonged somewhere else. Sometimes she scrolled through old DMs from men who once called her magic. Other nights she stared at pictures of Mark, of Bradley, of cold cities and warm drinks, and the girl she used to be, the girl she played so well. Poison. That name was gone now, left behind in the strip club dressing room with her heels and her hopes. What remained was Anita, raw, tired, used, and slowly fading into someone she barely recognized. One night, during another blackout, her phone battery blinked red and died. The heat pressed down like a punishment, and for the first time in weeks, she spoke, not to anyone, just to herself, out loud in the dark. I almost made it. I almost became her, the her she imagined. The one with permanent residency and brunch plans. The one who wore real fur, not knockoffs. The one who escaped. But she didn't escape. Canada didn't save her. It seduced her, used her, then spat her out like bad gum. It didn't change her life. It swallowed it whole. And now all she had left was snow in her memory. And sweat on her skin.
If you enjoyed listening to this story, do well to subscribe the Amebo Storyteller channel. You can also put on your notification so you'll be the first person to know when an interesting story like this comes out.